Welcome everybody to the KJ show here with the big homie Josh Livingston.
Thank you for having me, KJ. I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming.
I feel like we talk all the time, but not in this format. But as soon as we get started, it's just like the same shit, the same stuff. Pardon me, trying to clean it up, but anyway, we're not gonna waste much time at all. We want to get it in. The market is clearly very hot right now, and people need to know what to do. They need to know what's going on, and yeah, I mean, we had D King in the house. What's up, bro? Um we had a little bit of news today, and it's interesting that it came at a very significant area, specifically on Ethereum. Um, you know, on we had a conference call on Sunday and the previous Sunday, and these up moves on crypto specifically didn't take me by surprise. I'm fairly certain it didn't take you by surprise either, Josh. I mean, we were positioned well for these type of moves, and in a few minutes we're going to pull up some charts and kind of show you what we were seeing and what led us to believe this, as well as what we're expecting for the short and midterm future. I mean, if you follow me, I've been kind of saying the same thing for some time now, that I expect, basically the range that was established to be the bottom. However, I'm looking for crypto to kind of run up until April, mid-April to late April, and then have some pretty painful price action, frankly, for the summer. That's what I'm looking for. I think the summer's going to be pretty bad. But in that time period, being that hopefully will show strength, I think there will be opportunities to play isolated plays. Like, there may be an individual sector that pumps during that period where the majors retrace. So if you're very engaged in the market and in tune with the market, you're going to be able to find those opportunities. And for the people that have been watching my latest videos, you'll see, like, this is the first time I'm doing a live in a very long time, but I've been trying to produce good crypto content on a consistent basis, and you can pretty much count that I'm going to continue to do that. That's my focus right now, and the main message that I'm trying to stress is that this is not the time to quit. In fact, over the weekend, if you know, like, if you're new to the channel, I work with a lot of really talented people that we've been trading together since 2017, and two of those people are Stillman and Shavi, and they're kind of helping me with the channel a bit. And we were brainstorming, and on Sunday I said, listen, I need to do a video that's going to get people's attention. I want people to click because I feel like it's important. And we were thinking about different thumbnails, and the title that I came up with was, if you're thinking about quitting crypto now, watch this immediately. Like, basically, like, do not quit now. I was trying to make sure that people stayed involved, and I was going to shoot it Monday, but life kind of has a way of getting in the way. I wasn't able to shoot it. I was going to look at Tuesday, and then the market just takes off. And I'm like, the market is pumping, people are excited. I'm not going to come out with a "don't quit crypto now" video. I should have just did it on Sunday when I had the idea, because I was really feeling that way about the market. And the point that I was trying to make is, like, if you've watched the videos that I've done, that's the message I want to stress to you. If you disengage now, you're going to miss some serious gains. Like, this is the time to be involved. And what do you think, Josh?
I definitely agree. I mean, it was a brutal 2022. I think the downside is limited at this point. If you've already gone through all of this, why walk away now? I mean, you might as well stick around, as you have these oscillating cycles of bull and bear. Once you've gone through a certain, level of pain once before, you know how the markets operate. Reality is, if I had been ejected out of any of these market cycles, I would have never got here. The opportunities that the next market cycle provided always, generally speaking, trumped the one before that. So, I definitely agree with you. I think that if you're still around now, then you're going to be one of the few that are going to actually be able to reap the rewards of what's coming next.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, when you've been around long enough, you see cycles, you understand how they work, and At the end of the day, I think anybody that's been around for like at least a moderate amount of time, like a year or two, like I think deep down inside, like you want to be a buyer here more so than a seller. Now, because crypto is so volatile and the liquidity has been like completely sucked out of the market, you can get hit with nasty drawdowns quickly, like 20 to 30% of your capital. And if like let's say you're coming in with all you have and you need to make money immediately and you put it all in because you got excited today and then you get a 20% drawdown, um, it's it's very difficult to not get shaken out of something like that. And, I think like you have to take an approach that you're comfortable with, but at the same time, zoom out and realize where you are in the cycle and understand that, me personally, like it's like I came yesterday. I bought like $10,000 worth of Ethereum in the morning when I woke up. Something happened. I had like a little extra money, and I'm like, I just want to have more money in the market, and I'm looking for different ways to make more money to put it in at this point, and that's what I think people should be doing.
Absolutely. Like, I think at this point of the market cycle, if you are a long-term buyer, you're not going to really regret it. I think that if you are dollar cost averaging starting here, it's not really a bad idea. Generally speaking, I'm against dollar cost averaging, but if you dollar cost average at the right time, you can come out on top. It also depends on what you dollar cost average on, because if you dollar cost averaged on BlackBerry, you're homeless now. Dollar cost average, if you DCA on the wrong thing, you can really end up, with losing your hat. But if you dollar cost average on the right things, if you think BTC is going to be around 5-10 years from now, if you have conviction that BTC is the real deal, we're just going through a bear market, then this is not a bad time to start that. It doesn't matter whether we bought them at 12 or whether we bought them at 10, because at some point the bet becomes asymmetrical. At some point the Fed starts dropping rates. At some point the entire cycle starts again. And this time you have a position in it because you've been DCAing. Now, if you started DCAing at 60K after the market went 20X, you're probably not going to be in that great of shape. It makes sense to DCA at sensible levels. So again, I completely agree. I think that now is the time to get involved. And if you were thinking about stepping away, you shouldn't step away right now.
But go ahead.
Alrighty, so as we were just talking about, if you've been around up to this point, there's no point in leaving anymore. The narrative always looks dead at the bottom. Ethereum became, a two-digit, crap coin, back in the 2018 cycle when we were coming down from over $1,000. Ethereum sustained a 94% retracement, and the best was still yet to come. Because what you had that spawned out of Ethereum were things like Shiba Inu, you had Wi-Fi, you had Aave, you had Axie Infinity, you had so many opportunities that were as large as Ethereum, if not larger, that came out of this. Once Ethereum had come down 94, 95%, things became asymmetrical. At that point, if you had any interest in the space at all, that would have been the time to get in. It was essentially at that point or never. And starting off, wanted to talk a little bit about Solana and Ethereum, and essentially, what our projections are. Essentially, Solana's in that same kind of position where it's sustained a 96, 97% retracement. At this point, if you are still around, there's no reason to leave anymore. And at this point, the bet has become asymmetrical, similar to Ethereum at the time. Now, the idea here is that, history repeats, not exactly the same, but history repeats in a general sense. If that is the case, then do we have a large opportunity coming up for Solana platform tokens, for Solana small caps that are coming around that could be the next Axie Infinity, the next Shiba Inu, the next Aave? Do we have that potential? I would say that, most people are thinking probably at this current stage that these things won't happen again. But the reality is that everything is cyclical. Market cycles are cyclical. And it's very likely that to some degree we see a manifestation of this, right? Obviously, Solana had a meme coin called Samoyed, and then you had a few other other coins coming out like Star Atlas that are on top of the Solana platform right now. And the idea is that there is a possibility and a potential that you have a repeat of the 2018 scenario, as well as the fact that, where is Solana telling us? What is Solana telling us about the overall market as a whole? We're sitting down at 96, 97% retracement. Is this telling us something about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and about the entire market? Because at that time, whenever Ethereum had bottomed around $85, that was the bottom on the entire market. So the expectation here is that over this year, as KJ was saying, leading into April, February, March, April, May, June, we're likely to have some kind of accumulation range here on Solana, and probably a reinflation move back up to that $60 to $80 level at some point this year. For now, we're not completely out of the trenches yet, but this could have been a bottom. I'm not saying for sure it is the bottom, but it could have been. If it is the case, we're likely to put in some kind of accumulation range, similar, not exactly, similar to Ethereum. And probably within the next few months, we end up finally breaking above this moving average, which is the 200 on the 24-hour. And we end up kind of making that move to $60 to $80, which would obviously reflect in BTC being higher, Ethereum being higher. So I wanted to start off with Solana as a potential depiction of what is it telling us about the rest of the market, and what potential future opportunities could be within Solana here. And
Hey Josh, can I challenge that? But at the same time, also, it's like I'm gonna play devil's advocate in regards, and we discussed this, like in regards to the comparison between Solana and Ethereum. Ethereum is clearly Main Street when it comes to like crypto smart contract platforms. I mean, Ethereum is the game, and everything else is quote unquote ripoffs. And Solana obviously heavily tied into FTX. There was news today that FTX owns another $500 million worth of Solana supposedly, and interestingly enough, you didn't see that really affect the chart too much. But even before the FTX implosion, Solana was somewhat known for going down, not working all the time, things of that nature. You had Frank D Gods and the most popular NFTs on the chain leaving for greener pastures at the time, and it was just like it felt like it was about to be over for Solana, and then the market just ripped and Solana went hard. And we were looking at it, it was like, this just looks bullish. Like, I don't understand why, but it does. And then you had Bonk kind of like reinvigorated the chain. But so now I'm playing the other side. I'm going to support your argument from people that I've spoken to that are very knowledgeable, insiders, quote unquote, but people that know their stuff and are very well connected. From what I understand, Jump Crypto actually did very, very well during the bear market. I hear they're extremely healthy. They crushed it. They had so many gains in the bull market, and then they took their risk off, and so their losses were very minimal. And from what I understand, they have a tremendous amount of capital tied up into Solana and the Solana ecosystem. So now like it's basically like you're replacing Sam with Jump, and there's the bottom of Sol was Vitalik tweeting that he hears there's a lot of good people working in Sol. So to kind of counter my first devil's advocate, suggestion that it's not going to perform like ETH, you have capital on the chain again. You have Vitalik showing some sort of support, and you can see that the community is strong. Actually, it's almost strengthened. They've been through so much. They had the leader of the chain, Sam, be the worst person we've ever seen in crypto. They've had the price almost go to zero from such a high point. They had their most prominent NFT leave, and then it's kind of reviving. And like when you log onto crypto Twitter, you see it. You can see it. Like Icebags made a tweet. Whenever I mention anything about Solana, it's like my mentions get flooded with a bunch of frat boys. Like that's like kind of like what he said. And I said, you know what? Like that's bullish. That sounds kind of bullish to me. So I'm starting to become a believer. Actually, I was one of the people that I thought originally, like I'm like, yeah, this is going back to $3, but I'm starting to convince myself that this is doable. I'm not certain it would make another all-time high, but it does look like it can outperform, especially because you're going to see short interest. And in crypto, the price goes to where the liquidity is. And if people just keep running to short this, like somebody's going to hop on the other side of that. I mean, we saw what GameStop did. And when you never underestimate like a community that's wrecked, that has like, you know, someone to blame. Like it was right when the Frank D Gods thing happened, and it's like it brought them all together. So I really like that. For me, I wasn't even looking at Soul to kind of like tell me. I was looking more at BNB, and BNB was. I'd like to get your take on BNB as well, but you had all the FUD of like insolvency and things of that nature, and it was like every account with like a few 100,000 followers was talking about take your money off BNB, and they took the withdrawals like a champ. I'm not saying CZ's an angel, but I don't think he is SBF. I think he's played the cards he was dealt very well, and he's poised to be the emperor of crypto. And I don't think he's going to pull a Sam. And if you look at the chart, it's implying that they are very solvent and very healthy, and that would be good for all of crypto. What do you think?
So a few points on that. So I had originally tweeted like I don't trust CZ, don't trust Binance, and that's just crypto culture.
Shouldn't trust anybody.
Custody your own coins. After what happened with FTX, it was like, I went from trusting the guy to not trusting him within a week and having to, immediately process what had happened. So at that point, I'm in full protection mode. I don't trust CZ. I don't trust any exchange operator. Forget it. It's like that makes sense. Now, taking a step back, now that we're on the other side and we're seeing Binance is still up and operating, it wouldn't have hurt you to self-custody your own coins anyways. Like you weren't going to sustain any kind of damages, whether you did that or not. If anything, you could have avoided a potential drawdown if for some reason Binance went bust. Now, going back to the point on Solana and Ethereum, back in 2018, when we were around, crypto kitties crashed Ethereum, right? So it never looks good on the way down. And the thing is that like crypto nature is always, people are always looking for the next narrative. First it was Bitcoin, then it was Prime Coin, then it was this coin, then it was that coin, and then they created colored coins, red coin, this coin, that coin, and now you have then Ethereum came along, then everybody tried to become Ethereum. Then you had the EOS narrative, then you had, and then from that you had you had Ripple, then you had the next generation, which was Solana. Solana is really that next narrative that has the market cap to grow. And even if there's nothing really there in Solana, even if it's not going to be around in 5 years, it doesn't mean that it cannot see. It doesn't mean it cannot see a narrative trade. It does not mean that as long as the narrative can carry it long enough for people to bid, then you're going to see price action there. That's my theory on it. Looking at it from a psychological standpoint, as long as they have enough infrastructure to kind of bring updates out there and to be somewhat of a competitor to Ethereum, it doesn't even have to be a real competitor, then I think that, at least we see a reinflation move back to maybe 60 to 80. Now, all-time highs, that's off the table. I'm not even talking about that. I think that that's super low probability. We're going to need a catalyst, in my opinion, like March 2020. And that's not even worth talking about right now because we're not even really at that stage of a potentiality. This is a crash cycle that still needs to, at the very least, what it's going to do next, if it's going to do anything, is attempt to return to the mean. That's it. And that's what Ethereum did too. And from that point onward, we can discuss the potentials from that point, on. But for now, I think that it has enough air in it from the Vitalik tweet, from devs working on it, from the Solana phone release. It has enough air in it to have somewhat of a narrative to at least see a reinflation trade if we get Bitcoin back to 30 to 35,000. I find it really hard to believe that Solana won't be a part of that run. I find it hard to believe that other things like AVAX won't be a part of that run. Generally speaking, this market is
AVAX is
hyper
taking
correlated. Yep. AVAX and Phantom, and and essentially, what is this reminiscent of? This is reminiscent of the Echo bubble. It's reminiscent of the Echo bubble that we saw in 2018 after the bottom.
Are pumping.
We had a very, very quick market cycle where Litecoin having pumped, and we had that's when the same move happened for Ethereum when it went back to 240 to 360. So I think that this space is run by narratives. Fundamentals don't really matter. If fundamentals mattered, Shiba Inu wouldn't have done what it did. So many meme coins copied and replicated those meme coins, and they were running on a narrative. An idea had nothing to do with fundamentals, and they outperformed everything. What about GME? Was that all about fundamentals?
Yeah. Just the idea of how much money do I have if this goes to $1, or how much money would I have if this goes to 1 penny was enough to send some of these meme coins to billions of dollars of market cap. Just to interject, Bobby Boucher has a question: why echo bubble and not full blown bull? In my opinion, and you can answer this as well. Um, I, I I don't like to get stuck on labeling price. Like, what you guys call it, whatever you want to call it. Like, I just like up or down, and like targets and levels. But as far as what I'm looking for, I think we're gonna go up, like I said earlier, into April, like late April, and then you'll start to hear people say sell in May and go away, and I think it'll get front run a bit potentially. So like we'll start to dip at the end of April, and the summer will be pretty bad, and you'll have like in that cycle, or it'll probably make a bull flag from where we go and where we top out in April, and then that will end with a bearish climax in mid September. And in my opinion, if it plays out that way, like and obviously I'll keep updating you guys with YouTube and Twitter. But if it does happen to play out that way, the dip that comes in like September, mid September, early October, like around that time, that is like the ultimate dip to buy, because then I think we will go full bull at the end of this year, even it'll start. And that would imply like at least like a year or two of bullishness going forward. So like I'm like super bullish in general. And I think this year is really the time to buy the dips and get as much money into crypto and learn as much so that you can be ahead of the next trend. And you can really set yourself up nicely. Part of my reasoning for that is like I've studied old price action, and like we've talked about the Shemitah cycles. Like this is the old school Jewish thing, but it's been accurate like for like 60 years. So the year after Shemitah, which ended in September of 2022, Shemitah ended. The year following that is typically very difficult to trade, and you get pumps and then you get full retraces, a lot of round tripping. But the year after that has been bullish, and it's been bullish for like 5 years after, and then gets bearish again. So I don't know if we're going to get 5 years of bull. For that, I think you would have to see the either AI, a combination of AI and like universal basic income start to really kind of be pushed. And like I don't think that gets rolled out and fully adopted in the next 5 years, but just the implications and the discussion around that could be a nice catalyst for it, but maybe that's a discussion for another day, but that's my thought. What do you think? Why not echo bubble and full bull?
Okay, so from a technical standpoint alone, without even thinking about narratives, there are so many levels that we have to clear, and we don't even have the same fundamental backbone anymore. Interest rates are not what they used to be. They've been raised at the highest rate that they've been raised in decades, and crypto's never been around to see the aftermath of what high interest when money's essentially not free anymore. Crypto's never been around to see that we have never seen the effects on the crypto industry. Crypto was born out of 2009. Bitcoin was born out of 2009, and essentially the entire QE decade fueled this entire ecosystem. So I think that we go back into full blown bull. First of all, the backbone fundamentally in the backdrop doesn't make sense, and second of all, from a technical standpoint, we have so many levels that we need to clear, whether it be on Solana, on Ethereum, or Bitcoin. And this kind of takes me to my next point, my next chart on Bitcoin. It takes me to this point that, if we even get a major bounce here and we go up to $24,000, this is just a short-term short squeeze. And although we could create a higher low, we still have, even if we were to break out higher, we still have to interact with the $30,000 level that was the previous floor. So I think like if you think that we're going to go into full-blown bull, that's going to kind of hold your mind hostage from taking profit if we end up at these resistances, and chances are you're going to hold back down again. Look what happened back in 2019 when we had that echo bubble. We still got put in this long, drawn out, phase where prices saw lower highs until we got one more capitulation, and then we came out of it. So, to this point, as of right now, what I'm currently expecting is that since we held the 360 SMA, it's the same level that held during March 2020. Clearly, there's demand here. The structure that we're forming leading into this support is a bull flag, and if we continue to squeeze out of here and get 24,000, then $20,000, $19,000 to $20,000 is going to be a new floor that I'm looking for price to hold. If that holds, we create a higher low, and the next level, logical level, is $30,000 to $35,000. That would include Solana likely seeing 60 to 80. So I think that it's premature to say, why not full blown bull? I'm okay with that, because you know what full blown bull looks like? It's above every single moving average on every chart. That's what full blown bull looks like. And so you don't miss it. And if it's full blown bull, it stays bull for quite enough time for you to participate and get involved. So there's no benefit in me assuming that we're going to go full blown bull. If anything, it's going to hold my mind hostage when we get into profit taking zones. And I'm not going to do anything because I fed myself a perception that essentially could not play, that may not play out, and now I'm going to stay stagnant at those profit taking zones. So, tying that into Bitcoin and the thoughts there, and when we move over to Ethereum now, and we take a look here, full blown bull again. You're going to have to clear many levels. Essentially, a full blown bull would encompass Ethereum being above this resistance, back into the same trajectories of strength that it was over here. Obviously above the 200 MA on the 24 hour. So you're going to need to clear so many levels that there is no reward for me to think like that. It is more advantageous for me to think in terms of profit taking levels and treat it play by play, month by month. And as we get there, if we convert to full blown bull, you will have the time to participate. You will have you're going to have a renaissance of altcoins taking off, and it's probably going to last for multiple years, or at least a year and a half or two. So there's no reason to preemptively assume that, which is why, if I don't take profit and we come back down into this range for another 3 years, and now we're waiting for the 2028 halving, how many years of my life did I waste? I mean, you only get so many years on this planet to do things the right way before time's up. And so you really have to strategize, because these cycles take years. I mean, it feels like yesterday that we were, in 2017 playing that cycle. And now, 5, 6, 7 years have passed, and we're now here talking about, the potential for another market cycle. And we may get dragged out another 2-3 years before we have, full blown bull and new all-time highs.
It goes way faster than you think, especially in crypto. And that's why it's like, for some people, it's like, geez, I got to wait another year for it to be bullish, like bullish. But like, what they don't realize is in that time period, there will be like plays like a Solana $12 to $60. And, if Bitcoin goes to 25, 30K, you're going to see ETH at 25 to 3K. And guess what? There's going to be meme coins and smaller new projects that are going to do 100x plus in that time period. You may see something similar to like a BSC season where stuff is popping off for 1,000x. You don't know. And you won't know unless you stay engaged. And I'm not missing the next BSC type season. I mean, maybe it's AI coins. That could be a possibility. But just to get to the chat, I want to hear the chat. Yeah, USD is getting murked. Yeah, we could talk about that too, because I've been talking about that for months. Top looks like it's in on that guy. But just because like DXY goes down, like it doesn't mean like the correlation is going to be, on point and immediate and precise and actionable. Because if you go back and look at that chart, just look at what Bitcoin did when DXY bottomed and pumped. Like DXY pumped in unison with Bitcoin for months while Bitcoin made an all-time high. And DXY clearly bottomed the same way DXY put in the top, and then Bitcoin went down too. Like, but ultimately, like in the long term, it does look shot. I agree with you, Chanel or Channel. Charles says, "Am I weird? I went in lots of old coins most people forgot about. LOL." Well, Litecoin was an old coin that most people forgot about, and you weren't weird if that was one of them. I would say that it depends on which coins and what your reasoning was. If you had reasoning for each specific position, then yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear it. But if you just said like, I'm gonna buy old coins that people forgot about and just randomly off the top of your head started picking them, I might interpret that as weird. So it depends on your reasoning for entering each position. As long as you have a solid thesis for doing it, I mean, who am I to say it's weird?
Right. So taking a look at just finishing up with Ethereum real quick over here. kind of to the point in holding, why not full blown bull? Essentially, we haven't even crossed the moving average that would suggest that we would return back into a bull market. We just recently actually got our first close above it, which could signify a potential further rally. That's pretty much all we've gotten. So, like I said before, I mean, not to beat a dead horse and say the same thing over and over again. I think that we're perking up for opportunity. I think that we're perking up for something that could be a quarter of what happened in 2020 to 2021. But people are likely going to be looking to protect any kind of cash that they get for the terrain that could be coming that is unknown due to the backdrop that we were talking about before. So as of right now, my expectations for Ethereum is that, since we held this trend line ever since, March 2020, our original trend line from the very beginning of the Ethereum trend, as long as this level holds, as long as this trend line holds, essentially late this year, mid this year, you're likely going to see 24 to 2600 on Ethereum. And that would ideally be my profit taking zone once again. I wouldn't be expecting full blown bull. I would just be expecting, a potential like double top that kind of pierce this high, trap new buyers over here, and then we rotate back down again. So, but if we are going to go back into full blown bull, as I said, every moving average will be bullish again. You cannot mistake it whatsoever. So that's pretty much what I have to share regarding Ethereum,
Right.
Bitcoin, and Solana. I think that the probability of seeing $12,000 Bitcoin and $600 Ethereum has become substantially less as we gravitate further away from this trend line, as we gravitate further away from the 360 SMA on the weekly. I think the probability becomes lower and lower, and that this is the beginning of the larger quote unquote echo bubble, and we slowly kind of come out of it. And it doesn't come without steep retracements, but we slowly start making our way up into those higher targets as this year progresses. As we said, potentially setting up for a sell in May and walk away, or maybe even around June, July. And that should sum up the entire year in regards to you take profit and then step out of the market at that point, leading into the end of the year. So what are your thoughts on that, KJ?
It's great stuff. I agree. And what I was setting up to do is I'm actually going to share my charts now. And there's a couple
Sure.
things I want to talk about. So let me see. Oh, here I go. Here we go here. You're out of the picture, but your voice should be fine. And okay. You guys can see me good? Check with the chat. Should be all good. I'm getting better at this. This would have took me about 5 to 10 minutes back in the day. And then I would get really upset and frustrated that I suck at tech and I'm a boomer. And it would have completely derailed me. But, I'm so confident I'm not even going to ask. No, I'm lying. I should ask somebody and make sure before I go ahead. Because that would derail me. If I went and started talking and then I start getting the text messages, KJ, we can't hear you. Or, we can't see your screen. Or so it works. Okay. Good. See, I was confident. All right. Let's look. What are we seeing? So BTCD. Let's look at this guy. So this looked like it was gonna break out. This was very, very scary. Oh, you know what? I'll share my screen to you, Josh, so you can see. You can see what I'm talking about as I'm doing it with the audience. However, you basically it's very clear, right? You have a range. You take the range out completely, and this is a large range, so from July to December, and then you consolidate above it, but it doesn't break out, and you get a very nasty candle here, and then it breaks down, and this level, I was saying, this is like at the very least, as soon as it starts to break down, I'm like, BTCD looks bearish, it looks awful, and at the very least, it's going here. And if it does that, that's a nice little move for alts. It's not the big one, but for me, like most probably, you're gonna at the very least like hit here, and then I think it's gonna probably test down here, most likely, and this would certainly make this look like a bear flag. That, like I don't know, I don't think this this is ready to do this move where it comes like all the way down, but it can happen. It would be kind of shocking to me. So BTCD still looks bearish, but when I look at F, like when we talk about MAs being above MAs and MAs starting to look bullish, like on the daily, you have these are the lower time frames. So these are like 10, 21. This is the 60. This is curving up. The 99 is flattening out and curving up. We just broke through the 200. The only one left standing really is like this is like 360, but you have this level, the green one. Well, I'll just put it in as monthly, but as you can see, this is previous all-time high, right? So like this is a significant area. We didn't break this downward trend line, but like when you look at price here, you have a consolidation, you have a pump, and then you have a long drawn out bull flag that retests this consolidation level. The shape of this is, I'm not sure who coined the term. I know Hisaka uses it all the time, and we use it too, is the Dalai Lama, but this looks like this can dolly. And if we can push through this area, like the implications are like at the very least up here. You know, you're probably going to get close to 2K on F, and it could come kind of quickly. So for me, like I'm optimistic. The shape looks nice. This is like it's very good looking, but I tighten stops up here. I got to be careful. You know, this is the third test of this trend line, and it can break, but we still are in a bear market. So like at the end of the day, like hopefully I wake up and we just blow this out, because it means we're gonna continue to make nice moves. So definitely keep a close eye on that guy. But you know, like I said, Sunday we had a call in our group, the Trading Dojo. If you're interested in that, check it out. It's trading/dojo.com. We've been open since 2017. So we've seen many cycles, and we've survived, and we pretty much, you don't hear me advertising it very much because it's the same members and they all know how to trade, and it's like we kind of like it that way because there's so much value. Members bring a lot of their own plays to the table, and they end up being winners on their own, and we can all kind of eat from each other. But you know, we're happy to teach new people. But on that, we do a Sunday market roundup call, which is similar to this, but there are 3 other admins and it's long, but it's a lot of alpha in there. But Sunday I was looking at the charts, it was like very, very bullish. The stuff that I was telling you earlier in regards to like BNB, this is like just massively bullish looking. This is clearly going to dolly. BNB is solvent. And if BNB is this bullish, then the whole market is bullish. And, you know, L1s, Aptos, I tweeted that one live. If you look at where I tweeted Aptos, which I talked about on the call, I was comparing this to Uniswap.
Oh, wow. What a perfect. I knew you were going to say Uniswap just
Yeah.
because I'd seen that structure as well.
Yeah, I called it on Sunday's call. It's basically that I've seen that structure too. That's the Binance listing structure. And like you get this dump, and even Coinbase in some regard, the stock behaved this way. But like when you look at it, it's very, very similar. So I saw that this level was taken out, and then it started to curve up. So this is Sunday, right? Or this is Sunday, and I'm like, I think this is gonna pop, and then we're gonna look for it to make some sort of range here. And then on the lower time frame, I was looking at this bull flag manifesting, and I saw this candle put in. It basically took out this low and held, put in another candle, and this is like, I'm like, do not sleep on Aptos, and it was basically up only from that point forward. But what I'm trying to say is like these are all like that's where I longed on Sunday, right? Is here. And now we're up here on this, and it's Thursday evening. Like maybe don't open a long here shooting for $10 or whatever. You know, like with F being at the resistance, like this has been a very meaty move. In a bear market, you have AVAX, Sol, doing quite similar things. Like I said, I am bullish, but I believe that a little bit of caution here is probably apt. No pun intended. But Yeah, so that's what I got on that. What else was I gonna say? What else? What else? What else? We covered a lot. We really did. Oh, somebody was asking me about AI coins. One thought that I have in regards to AI is you know what, that's a conversation for another day. Maybe I'll do a whole video on it because I have an entire basket of AI that I like, and you know, I'm continuing to do research. I don't have like my favorite just yet. There were some I like, but a lot of them already pumped like 5x. So like, you know, especially with F being at resistance and my outlook on the market as such today at this current moment, um, I think I'll hold off discussing that until we see like what type of price action we get in the next 48 hours or so. But like this looks strong. This looks very, very strong. FET looks phenomenal. And the market cap is very large. And from what I understand, there's a lot of there's like token unlocks. Like the market cap is going to balloon even larger. And here's what I'll say about AI. Like I'm super bullish on AI, like as a product, but and I'm also super bullish on the hype that's going to surround it, kind of like similar to marijuana stocks. But like we're not talking about AI, we're talking about crypto AI. Okay, like there's a big difference between like Google's Lambda product and ChatGPT and OpenAI versus like some crypto company that's saying they do AI. Um, but it doesn't mean they're not going to pump, and it doesn't mean like a complete scam will not do 1000x. That can happen,
It's
but
just a narrative again. You know,
yeah,
it's just they're chasing a narrative. The new hot thing's AI, and that's the narrative. So people are going
hmm
to want to jump on that and be involved. At the end
yeah,
of the day, like don't get too tied up into the fundamentals because chances are it's going to get faded out just like everything else did in this industry.
yeah. I think like so. If you're playing AI, and this is how I'm looking at it, I think you make a basket and you start to filter them out and categorize them into market cap size, probability, understanding like your risk reward, but you should take risk, in my opinion. I think you should take risk on low cap AI, but you got to do your research good. But at the same time, that entire basket should not be your entire portfolio. Number one, like you shouldn't be like, I'm going all in on AI and like you miss L1 season or you miss privacy coin season or like some weird thing happens with AI and all of a sudden they all become bearish at once. Like I wouldn't go entirely all in on AI, but you can definitely allocate like a nice portion of your portfolio into it if you're a risk taker. But within that basket that you have, like FET should be, or FET, a combination of FET and Ocean, like the larger, more established ones that are leading should comprise like should make up a significant amount of that basket. And like I'm not saying like over 50%, but like you should have at least like 25 to 35% of that basket in the leaders that are large cap because these can continue to pump and maybe while they won't do 100x because from a market cap perspective that's next to impossible. I mean, we have seen crazy things happen, so I'm not going to say impossible. Like who knows in the next bull run where these things go, but like they can pull off a very clean 20x with ample liquidity where you'll be able to sell no problem, not affect the chart, nobody will notice, you'll be able to get out, you get your 10 20x, whatever the case may be, and you walk away. Meanwhile, these other like high risk, low cap unknown ones will rug you. There'll be no liquidity, like a lot of them won't pump, and there are times where like if some sort of catalyst happens for FET, like people or I just see so many people running to be like show me low cap AI and like it might just be like FET is just bullish and these other things are not. So that being said, they have been pumping. So that's why I think it makes sense. But I've seen that scenario where it's like you're upset that you missed it. You think you missed it, the bullish asset that's like everybody has, and then you start like trying to outsmart the market, and then you end up like getting rugged or whatever. Or your coin goes completely sideways for a while, like a long time, and FET just pumps to the moon, and then you get extremely salty and sell your coin, and then your coin does the 1000x. Like these things happen. So I would advise do your research, you know, like if you're gonna be in something really small, have a lot of conviction and have like a legitimate reason for that. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on AI. And you know, keep your eyes peeled. I'll do like a short YouTube video that's like, you know, well thought out. I'm just like talking off the cuff right now, but that's my thoughts on that. And Was there anything else? Oh, this Sunday Dojo call. I said the bottom's probably in on this guy. At least for now. Caspa, like I don't know too much about it. I've just heard good things, and I heard good things when it was up here, and I was like, I don't know, I can't buy this right now. Even though like I was feeling FOMO, and then it did like about a 45% retrace this box, and I was generally bullish on crypto as a whole at that point. So I'm like, I think there's a good chance that this is bottomed, and this looks like this can do another leg. I'm gonna continue to do the research on this guy, but uh, I like like large caps, but I also like stuff that's like like on the cusp, that's like either mid or like 100 million market cap. That's not on every exchange. Like kind of reminds me of like QNT, where they have like a very loyal community already. And QNT was like the best coin you could have that like you don't see too many people talking about, and it just like went up forever. So like I'm like looking for something that could potentially be a QNT type play. So uh, this one I also like, but this is like more bullish. But like Luxo, I kind of like what it's doing here. So Luxo, Caspa, I like, and what's the third one? Atom, yeah, Atom. So like to push back at you on the Solana thing, like all the L1s were pumping. Solana pumped hard this week, but it's because there was heavy short interest. It's like the one that goes down the most goes up the fastest on the bounce usually. So like I don't necessarily believe yet that means that it's fundamentally strong and going to fulfill the move. But like in my opinion, being that you have the whole entanglement with Sam and FTX, being that people did flee the chain, being that in the previous cycle it had a ton of technical problems, and it just has like kind of a black eye from the whole thing. When you're playing L1s, I would prefer to play something that doesn't have that kind of like dark cloud over it, but that could keep me out of that trade, and it could outperform everything. It's possible, but like I do kind of like Atom as a play. More so.
Adam's been very bullish. Adam's been
Yeah.
very bullish.
Yeah.
It's
Adam
held
looks
up pretty
pretty good.
well.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Also, something else that would be really interesting to look at is Ton Coin.
Ton.
Yeah, Ton. It has definitely been
What's
an anomaly versus the rest of the market.
Oh yeah, look at this. This is the one on
I
KuCoin?
don't know if that's the full history. I don't think that's the full history. You might have the full history on. It's definitely not Bitrex.
Yeah, it's the OG coin, the coin that's been around forever. Or
it was recent. It was recent. I think.
Nexi.
Sure, I think. Yeah, I don't know how much history you're going to get, but this was a relatively recent release. If you look at CoinMarketCap and you see the entire history, it's essentially never had a market cycle, and it's been kind of ranging between like I believe $4 to $2. And it's definitely been an anomaly versus the rest of the market, and it's caught my attention just because its lifetime chart is unlike anything I've seen
I'm pulling it up
through
now.
this entire bear market.
Very
It's
interesting.
never really had a serious market cycle.
Yeah.
It's almost tracking the ETH BTC structure from life to now. If you look at its entire structure, it almost looks like the ETH BTC, move all the way from the beginning of its inception up until this point. And I do think that based on what I'm looking at here, I mean, this has potential to be pretty bullish and potentially challenge those highs at $4 in due time. This could be a sleeper that turns into something very large. And I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it.
What is it? What's it do?
I believe this is supposed to be the, if I'm not mistaken, which I could be very mistaken on it, something about Telegram coin. There was a lot of talk back in the day.
This is the Telegram ICO?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken.
It's my issue is it's 3 billion already market cap. And the fully diluted valuation says 10 billion, but it says max supply infinity. So, you know what? Just off the top of my head, and I haven't looked at the chart, I would like to see how this looks next to Filecoin, because it kind of reminds me of that. same cycle, same hype, the ICO season, same like enormous raise. Let's see what Filecoin looks like. Horrible. Very different than Ton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the same. Okay,
Disaster.
I'm not always good. I don't always get it right with these, but yeah.
Kind of looks like ETH proof of work,
Dude,
just kind of sold
Doge.
off, never came back.
Doge looks bullish. Doge. What do you think about Doge?
I think that the major move happened earlier in November. That was kind of like the disbelief in that cycle. It ended up going directly into the strongest resistances. I remember I made a video on shorting that on YouTube. I think that for now, you're probably going to see that attention shift. Like I said, I'm pretty bullish on, when you were talking about Solana, you're saying it kind of has like a black eye from everything that happened. That makes me even more bullish because, you have a lot of people that are sleeping on it and think that as long as Solana is not fraud, as long as it's not Luna, as long as it's not FTT, I think it's going to stick around. I mean, they still have USTC listed on exchanges, which was supposed to be like the Luna stable coin. It's like as long as Solana's not fraud, it's likely going to stick around, and you're going to see something come out of it. And the more people are bearish on it, as we've seen in this industry so many times, if everyone's tilted against a coin, tilted against a person, Roger Ver, you're always what tends to happen is you get monstrous moves that that develop from the coins that are hated the most. So this space really teaches you to look at things objectively and to not groupthink whatsoever.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, we only have like 25 likes. I feel saddened. If you enjoy the content, come on, hook it up. Subscribe, like. I know for certain we do good. We do good content. It's quality stuff. So hook it up. I'm gonna keep doing it no matter what, though. I just Telegram coin ton 26 now. Oh, 29. Okay, full market. Full market. Jay Fizzle, my guy. What else? What else? What else? Anything else? I mean, we went for a pretty long time. I think we could probably be just about ready to wrap up. But any parting thoughts before we move on?
Essentially, TLDR for me, TLDR to sum it up for me is I think that with a high probability, the bottom's probably in. And I think that the echo bubble likely starts somewhere here. It's not going to come without, massive retracements. But I think as the year progresses, you're likely going to see probably mid-year $30,000 to $35,000 Bitcoin. If you look at the yearly charts on both Ethereum and Bitcoin, you can definitely see that this is a start of a potential bigger move. You have a lot of a window of opportunity in the stock market. You have Tesla hitting massive support. You have a lot of the big tech stocks hitting massive support. You have stocks that like Shopify are coming out of bases, PayPal coming out of bases. A lot of stocks are preparing, a lot of tech stocks are preparing to kind of have like a return to mean scenario. And that is likely going to be not a standalone event, but an event together with crypto. And I think that, I'm treating this year, as a trade in and of itself. My whole plan is by the end of the year, I'm going to be primarily back into USD, and I'm not really going to be looking at holding anything beyond this year. So this entire year is a trade for me. And I think that the window of opportunity starts now for things like Solana, Tesla, Ethereum, so forth and so on. And by mid-year, I already want to start liquidating the things that I have. That's how I'm looking at it. And ultimately, my portfolio is positioned in a way that is in accordance to what I'm saying. And I've always had a thesis for how the year is going to look like. Generally speaking, I have an outlook for 3 to 6 months out. Generally, no more than that because it's not necessary. And anybody telling you that they know what's going to happen 2 years from now is being intellectually dishonest. It's a lot easier to look at the next 3 months than it is to look at the next 5 years or the next 3 years or the next 2 years. So that's kind of the summary that I would, end it off with. What about you, KJ?
Yep, sticking to the game plan. Bullish till May. Shitty in the summer. Bullish on the dip in September. That's what I'm looking for. Um, One other thing, we didn't even talk about Gary Gensler bonking Gemini. As far as that, like In my opinion, they're gonna slap them both on the wrist like they always do. They'll probably fine them a couple $1,000,000 and it'll be done with. You'll never hear about it again. Another reason to be bearish in May, and my original thesis had nothing to do with fun with like news or catalysts or anything. But then, I've been planning this for months now, and then now we're hearing like the settlement between DCG and Gemini, where you have Barry and the Winklevoss going back and forth about $1 billion that's owed. That needs to be settled by May, as well as the Mount Gox settlement and distribution will finally be happening in May. So, if the charts are coming and like ahead of time, you mark off like these different things, like maybe something happens with Gox. I mean, because it feels like it's been going on forever, but from what I'm hearing, it's supposed to finally happen. Uh, it's just a little further additional confluence. You know me, I'm not like really a news trader. Like I look for the chart and I'm looking for the move, and I'm like something's going to happen, and then like I don't know what it's going to be. It'd be like some random thing, and then it'll happen. It's like, well, the chart said something was going to happen here. So yeah, uh, sell in May and walk away, and basically be bullish till then, pending we don't get fucking awfully rejected here. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got. One last question. Moonbeam. I've never heard of this coin. Have you ever heard of Moonbeam?
No. There's so many coins in this industry that are popping left and right. It's hard to keep track
Yeah.
with every little thing.
Is Lux still alive? Question mark. Haha, good old days. I have no idea. I sold that in 2017 publicly, very close to the top. People were like trolling me for selling. And it's funny how that works because everybody has such a bad memory. I'm like a fucking elephant. I remember everything. It's like a gift and a curse. But I multiple times publicly, people would like the Lux community would be in my mentions being like, "What about Lux?" I'm like, I think it went too high. I don't know. I bought this at 50 cents. It's almost $100 now. Like I can't be bullish on it here. And they were upset with me for not like continuing to be bullish. I'm like, listen, I'm out. I made like I don't know, like 40 Bitcoin on the trade, something like that. I did really well. I was very happy with it. I was able to roll that into VeChain, and it was like those two trades just mooned my portfolio like insane. But Lux, yeah, I haven't heard that. That was like a real blast from the past. But what else? Yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. I think that's about it. And I'll talk to you soon, of course.
And thanks for
This
having me
is
on,
fun. We'll
KJ.
do it
I
again.
appreciate
See,
it.
see now that like I have my system down, like we had minor technical difficulties, but this is way better than the past. No echo on the mic. I have my settings. My webcam is decent. Make sure to subscribe because we're going to be bringing a ton of content, good content to you guys, and everyone have a great night. Take care.
Cheers, guys.